To the outside world, Senegal has appeared to be one of West Africa's more stable democracies, at least until now. But internally, the political scene is in turmoil. The country was supposed to be having elections in just over 2 weeks' time, but President Macky Sall, who was due to step down, instead postponed the exercise, and that sparked anger.
Security forces removing opposition members from the chamber as they try to block the vote. President Macky Sall had asked Parliament to approve a delay of the upcoming elections. With his party holding majority in Parliament, the bill quickly passed. The opposition has called the move a constitutional coup, but the president denied he was clinging to office.
For my part, my solemn commitment not to run in the presidential election remains unchanged. I will engage in an open national dialogue to bring together the conditions for a free, transparent and inclusive election.
Earlier, the Constitutional Court had disqualified several presidential candidates, including the man endorsed by the president. Macky Sall said that irregularities in the registration of candidates meant the elections had to be postponed. Senegal has been seen as a beacon of peace and stability in West Africa. Opposition candidates say that image is now tarnished.
A country that was a champion of democracy. A country that had become a benchmark in Africa and the world. A country respected by all and everywhere. What has happened to bring us to this point?
But Senegal has seen its fair share of turmoil in recent months. Demonstrators and opposition members have been arrested and killed, fueling more tension.
They're planning on keeping the power for another 6 months. But it's just a beginning. It's just a beginning. They're going to go on and on and on and on. We don't know. So everything we want is a fair election. Election, that's all we want. We don't want anything else. That's it.
Senegal's appointment with democracy has been delayed. Many here fear that Macky Sall, at best, has set a worrying sign, and, at worst, is borrowing from a playbook of his autocratic neighbors.
So, has Macky Sall changed his mind about staying in power? I put that question to Latyr Tine from the Goree Institut in Dakar.
During the speech, he repeated that he's not supposed to stay. He wants to leave. That is what he said when he was having that speech to the Senegalese nation. And we all know that Macky Sall decided not to run for a third term. But what happened really is that it is a pressure at the international level that made him drop that decision to run for a third term. But what he's saying now is that he's not ready yet to leave the power, because today he wants to stay 10 more months. And legally, his mandate is supposed to end at April the 2nd. And from April the 2nd, he will not legally be the president of Senegal. Even if he stays, the constitution doesn't allow him to stay as the president of Senegal. Now, what is going to be done at the date from April the 2nd, we don't know yet. But what is sure is there are some other people who say that the real reason is that he is not ready yet to organize elections, because, as you may know, he's not running for a third term, but Amadou Ba, he is the prime minister today, is the one who is chosen to run for election for the political party in power. And they are saying that there are some samples, some studies that shows that if he organizes elections today, he may lose the elections. And that is why he decided to better prepare himself, because even within the political party in power, everybody did not accept this decision, because I think three people left the political party to run for election as a president.
Right. So where do we think this is heading? We've seen some of the anger out in the streets. We've seen politicians as well express their outrage. Will this be settled in the streets or in the courts?
They are having, I think, two strategies. The first one is they consider that the election will happen in February the 25th, and now some political parties in the opposition are having their campaign, and but they are repressed by the police because they are not supposed to have those campaigns because the elections are postponed by the parliament. And this first day that it was the Sunday. The Sunday there was some people in the opposition who were arrested because they decided to do the campaign. Most of them were arrested, but they were released 25 hours later. The second strategy is to go to court, because today this decision has to be confirmed by the Constitutional Court. And they have protested toward the Constitutional Court to say that they have to cancel this decision made by the President and confirmed by the National Assembly, because the last word is for the Constitutional Council. And now they are on the street trying to have their campaign, but at the same time they have done some protests toward the court to ask the court to cancel this decision of the president.
I'm just wondering, Senegal for a long time, at least from the outside, has been seen by many as a beacon of democracy in a region where we see trouble, we see military coups and things like that. But is this view actually misguided? Has Senegal's democracy actually been as stable as the outside world seems to think?
I think that is the main challenge that the actual president did not really maintain, because Senegal is seen, or was seen, I would say, as a model of democracy in West Africa. If you see the countries around Senegal, they have gone through coup d'etat, they have gone through civil wars, they have gone through electoral crises. Many countries or social even that have shown that democracy is not really something real in this country. And Senegalese was quoted as an example because we have gone through two transitions. Ablaye has come to power after 40 years of PS in power, and 12 years later Macky Sall has come. What the president is doing today is not really some democratic ways to run a country, because, as an example, I think the civic space is not really widened, because journalists are arrested. Today there are hundreds and hundreds of opponents who are in jail because they just protested for a decision made by the political party in power. Some journalists are arrested. The internet is cut. So I think that freedom of speech, even that is doesn't no longer have in Senegal. And what we're seeing today, it is a coup d'etat because the president has decided to postpone the election, to stay in power for about 1 year. And I don't see the difference between what he has done and what is happening in the other countries, in the Sahel, when a military comes and just stop the constitutional going on and just say that I will take the power from now, because legally he doesn't have the right to stay again. But what happens is that today the ECOWAS did not condemn it, the AU did not condemn it. It means that even when the president, I think, violates the texts of the ECOWAS doesn't really condemn what is happening in Senegal. It is really unfortunate, because the Senegalese people were expecting more than that from the international community.
Okay, we'll be watching to see how it unfolds. But Latyr Tine, Senior Program Officer for Peace Building and Conflict Prevention at Goree Institute in Dakar, thank you very much for that analysis.
Thank you very much.
In recent years, political protests have become more common in Senegal, and human rights groups have accused the country's security forces of using excessive force to crack down on dissent. While the threat of violence awaits those taking to the streets, Some Senegalese are using their art to express their grievances, as DW's Sira Thierij reports from Dakar.
An art collective in Dakar's suburbs. Normally, this building is full of students learning how to express their frustration through graffiti. Today, it's almost empty. Mobile internet switched off across the country, many people staying home, fearing violent protests. Matsu, the co-founder and teacher, uses graffiti to denounce his government's actions.
And you can see some policemen just like burning and killing people, shooting on the population, killing another one Senegalese, the son or the daughter of someone.
Last summer, at least 23 people died during anti-government demonstrations. Amnesty International says some were shot by police. Just 1 hour after Matsu finished his artwork, the wall was taken down by the government, he suspects.
We cannot talk about democracy if it's this kind of example, where someone by himself can decide to who live or who die, who gonna walk, who gonna succeed or not. That's not democracy. We are the generation who's wake up brutally and understand that something is definitely wrong and we have to change it right now.
Wherever you go in Dakar, residents express their disbelief at Macky Sall's decision to delay the elections, when young people desperately want change. The streets are more subdued than usual and protests smaller than in previous years. But many here fear that larger, potentially more violent protests are yet to come.
I'm really shocked. I really thought we were going to vote. I've never seen anything like this. I was born after our independence, and I never thought I would live through what we see in other African countries here in Senegal.
We're scared. We're terrorized because we live in complete insecurity. When you see the protests and what's going on here, it's difficult to live through the violence again.
We are tired of the government. The young people here, they've got their diplomas, but they don't have any work. There's no work, there's nothing here at all.
Allô, allô, monsieur le président. C'est pas un ennemi qui parle, mandoum partisan. C'est un simple citoyen qui parle librement.
This video was about the last demonstration in Senegal. We were telling the president to stop, all these troubles in Senegal and try to cool down the situation. 2 years later, it seems that everything is, we're going back to zero.
Didier Awadi is a rapper who sings about the backsliding of democracy in his country. He's urging all people to come together and stand up for their rights to decide about Senegal's future.
I'm not waiting for no messiah. I'm hoping, I'm praying that every Senegalese is the owner of his own development. And if we all believe in our potentiality, we can change this country.
Back in Matsu's art gallery, his team are developing their next visual assault on the president.
A few years ago, the Senegalese people will never be able to go outside and expose themselves at the front of the police, just like with a gun full of shards pointing off you and you screaming, "Free Senegal." I was at the front line. I see that. That's my personal experience. I see that this population wanted to be free.
Young people know exactly what they want: jobs, peaceful elections, and a prosperous future.